would that make a ghost an alien? Would we then be aliens inhibiting vehicles on this planet? Are we the alien? Hey everybody, welcome back once again. It is your girl, Ayla Mode, and I'm just doing a little thinking today because I spent a lot of time thinking. So I thought, why not take you down a bit of a mind hole today with me? Like, do you ever think about fate and free will? Like, how much of either of those exists, and do we even have free will? I like to think that everything is connected, like right from the Big Bang right to now. Like with everything that happened in the Big Bang, all of a sudden, you know, there's rocks hurling through space, there's gamma rays and radiation, you know, rippling through space-time. There's, you know, waves of gravity and magnetism and other forces that we just can't even comprehend at this point. So with everything that happened then, we are just bacteria playing out on one of those rocks. There was only a certain way that, you know, all those chemicals would react to expand and, you know, come together to create this life-inhabiting rock that we call Earth. And with all of the particles and, you know, elements that come together to kind of make up who I am, it was my brain chemistry then predetermined. And if brain chemistry is what is responsible for, you know, how we can feel, like for example, if I'm to get depressed a lot of the time, like not just like, oh, I think I might be depressed, like, no, I'm talking about like, you know, a lifelong depression, anxiety journey. Well, a lot of the times doctors say to me, well, that's just brain chemistry. Well, if brain chemistry then determines how I think and feel, then can brain chemistry also limit what I am capable of doing? Like maybe I can't have certain emotions and reactions. Not always, like you can always push yourself to do more and do better. Maybe it's just completely implausible for me to, you know, do the complete opposite of what my inhibitions tell me to do. And if my brain chemistry is going off right now, telling me to behave and emote and act in certain ways, and you are on the other end receiving this information, which is then fueling your own brain chemistry to have your own interactions and feelings and perceptions about me, are we not just a chemical reaction playing out with one another? If we wanted to really simplify that and dull that down, are we just the expanding foam on, you know, baking soda and vinegar reacting with one another? Is that just the nature of every handshake, kiss, hug, punch thrown that has ever occurred in history? And then we also think about how, you know, we behave based on these certain inputs, and yet we only have a certain limited number of senses. Like we are vehicles that can only perceive 5 different senses. And you know, there are whole rays of light, like spectrums of light that we are missing. There are, you know, electromagnetic fields that a lot of the time we're completely insensitive to. We feel like we have such a grasp on what reality is and looks like, yet we completely bypass all of it. Like, think of how a shark hunts. It can feel electromagnetically what is occurring in the water around it, and we are completely unable to tap into that. Pigeons can see ultraviolet light. We can't do that. You know, there's insects that can see infrared light. We can't do that. There may even be layers of dimensions or senses that we are not able to perceive, yet we still have such a limited grasp and scope of what reality looks like, but feel so concrete about it. Not to always bring this back to a trans thing, but to think that, you know, there's people in the world that have such a stronghold view of what reality looks like that, you know, there can only be binary genders in the world. Girl, we don't even know what the reality and fabric of existence is. it's ultimately so meaningless. Winding that back a bit to, get back to free will and choice though, and fate, I'm someone that likes to believe in, tarot cards and psychics and whatnot, and, if I could follow that and have a belief in these things, well, does that mean that I believe in fate? To kind of tie that back to the whole brain chemistry thing, well, if we have brain chemistry and we have the ability to choose how we react to certain emotions and feelings that arise within us, then do we have maybe free will within a predetermined set of outcomes, predetermined fates? So maybe fate looks more like a tree, and we get to choose which branch to go off to and which leaf to become. But is that still ultimately free will? Like, what if I didn't want to be on a tree at all? What if I didn't want to look like a tree? What if I didn't want to move in a structure? What if I wanted to flow like water? What if, well, I guess water flows like rivers and can branch off and still be its own thing, but again, who's to say that free will exists at all? Maybe everything is predetermined to some degree, and on some level, I almost believe that we've predetermined everything that we've done before coming into this life. Almost like we wrote a choose your own adventure book that happens to connect and touch with a bunch of other choose your own adventure books. As we're living, we get to still write out and play out the story, but in the end, I only wrote so many endings. Is that free will? Or is that fate? Is fate just the collection of predetermined outcomes? The tree that is life? Anyways, this is enough deep thinking for the time being. I'll spare you all the rest of wherever I take off to in my mind. But thank you for deep diving with me, and until next time, remember to keep your pencil sharp, but your mind sharper. Ciao!